And leading up to that, that's why we hired, one of the reasons, amongst our other legal issues that we deal with on a daily basis, but that's why we hired Stump Pig. And the next steps is to hire someone who can help us get through this process. So I also hear from people quite often, you said transparency, we're not having economic development committee meetings. And what I say repeatedly in the meetings is, we have nothing to say, because we haven't taken any steps. These are the steps, and you will start seeing something happen if we vote today to bring on this consultant. This is not another feasibility study that's been done by the Regional Planning Commission, hiring Dana Brown and some other folks, and then we hired a consultant right when I first got on the board. They proposed and hired a consultant, and that they did another study. That's, without commenting on either one of those, I would just say that one was not. We did not take it, order them to go far enough in depth with that. It wasn't a full-blown feasibility study. The Dana Brown study was. But how do you get from what Dana Brown presented to an actual something that people can show up in a meeting and have their input for an RFQ or an RFP? You have to have someone to do that. Not making excuses in any way. Everyone you see before you here sits a volunteer on this board. They all have other jobs. Well, some of them do.
Ouch.
They have jobs, they have families, they have commitments. We all do. And so, on top of that, although some of us are professionals in fields that will be touched.
The property. So we reached out to a couple of different developers. We got some responses, and we've selected who we feel is the most responsive consultant at the best value. And so that's who we recommended. It's HRNA.
Now, I'd like to clarify what I was saying, developer. These people cannot be the developer.
Right.
They're not allowed to be that aren't the one that was recommended by Stone Pigment, but they will help us get to that point. That there's someone who can develop this with whatever winds up coming out the other end of the process.
Open it up to the board questions.
Property, from a return on investment standpoint and other standpoints as well. Preparation, once that phase is complete, preparation of RFQ materials to solicit bids from potential developers. And then once proposals come in from developers, helping the municipal yacht harbor and Stone Pigment evaluate those bids to select the best.
Evaluation is that third.
Yes.
When you mentioned highest and best use, the criteria for that, is that dictated by the board and our inputs? So would we say like, it needs to be something that has at least, X amount of parking or, or not too much in space usage, things like that? Did you get that input from us, or is that part of that process?
Well, I think it's informed by limitations, that, zoning limitations and things like that are gonna be in place. But it's also informed by their own research and stuff. And so, the true highest and best use, I think, to really determine that, a consultant would have the fewest parameters to truly determine what would be the best use of the property. But we can place certain parameters on their research and studies so that the result is something that's permitted and desired.
And let me, Andy, whenever you hear somebody opens up with this, it's never good, right? With all due respect, my board, as we've sat through this a whole bunch, it will absolutely be dictated by parameters that we put in place. There will be, before they get started, there will be parameters that we say, the oak trees for one. We've talked about the connectivity, and this comes from the Dana Brown study, right? Which really was echoed by Hackett Group. The bicycle path from, continuing the path along the lake that starts past Kenneth, right?
Right.
And goes all the way to the east. That gets connected through this project in some fashion. And so, those yes, we will have that input before we let them waste any time.
Yes, and they'll come in here and meet with the municipal yacht harbor and understand what the parameters are that they're working within. So all that information will be conveyed to them. So
And help us facilitate the community meetings, so there's transparency all through this process. People see what's happening, see what's going on, and get input.